Did you recently relocate to the state of Maryland and not register your vehicle here in Maryland? Or maybe you're just registering that vehicle in an adjacent state to save a couple bucks on your registration. Let's find out today why that might not be the best idea and why by October 1st you're going to want to change it. Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. It's your accident and injury guy, Joe with Bowers, coming at you from my Elkton office. Today, we're going to talk about something that has been brewing for a little bit within the state of Maryland. And it may or may not be on your radar here in Cecil County because I think it's more of an issue closer to the DC metro area. Because a lot of folks, there's reports all over the place that are registering vehicles in the state of Virginia because it's saving them a bunch of money on their annual registration fees. As you may know, if you've been a long-time Maryland resident, recently, like within the past couple of years, the cost to register your vehicle has increased drastically. And not only has it increased drastically, but if you drive like an SUV or a larger truck, something heavier, it's increased significantly with the newer law. So folks are trying, I think, to work around this and register in states that are, a lot of it seems to be coming from Virginia. They must have, and I don't have all of the numbers on this, but they must have lower registration fees. Well, the law here in Maryland, and why we're talking about this today, is really a warning. But the law here in Maryland is that, and it has been for a while, what we're talking about today is the new plan to enforce it on a law that has existed for quite some time, that if you move to Maryland, and really within Maryland, like a change of address as well, you have 60 days to re-register and update the registration on your vehicle. So if you move from one town to the next or even down the street, technically you're supposed to update your vehicle registration within 60 days, your driver's license, all of that. Well, with this problem comes the need for the state, of course, to look for revenue. Obviously, that's kind of one of the reasons, but also to enforce this, there's a program called Plate Where You Live that is rolling out. It's through the state of Maryland. We'll put a link to their site with all of the details below. But starting October 1st, if you live in Maryland and you have a vehicle that's plated in any other state that isn't Maryland, you're going to get a warning, and then you're going to get a citation. So the second time after that warning, if you don't change it, and I think you're going to have 60 days from the warning even, that's kind of going to restart a new clock for you to register that vehicle. Otherwise, everything I'm seeing says that you're going to get a daily fine up for the first 60 days of $7 a day. So $7 a day for the first 60 days. Let's do the math here. 7 times 60, $420 would be the fine. And then once it hits 120 days, they will tow you, they will boot you, they will otherwise come and find your vehicle. They appear to be ramping up and getting very, very serious. Yeah, $7 a day up to 60 days. Local jurisdictions can bring civil action against the owner, including towing, impoundment, and or booting. So it goes through, and I'm going to put this link right below in here to go to the state of Maryland and walk through this, because I know people are trying to save a couple $100 here and there, and I get it because the economy is it's a hot mess right now. We're all living it, and any place that we could save a couple bucks, we certainly want to. My warning to you is this is not the way that you want to do it, because if they end up impounding your vehicle, towing your vehicle, or putting the boot on it, there's no details within the article of what that's going to cost to have that released or to have that boot removed and to clear all of this up. But my suspicion, and we'll know once October hits for sure, because this goes into place on October 1st, we're going to have a much better idea of how expensive it's going to be. But I suspect that it's going to be far more expensive than just going and registering the vehicle properly. So that is kind of the PSA, the warning for today. Obviously, we're sitting here in the middle of July, so you have several months to get this sorted out. But I highly recommend not getting to October 1st with a vehicle that belongs in Maryland that is not registered and plated here in Maryland. Otherwise, the consequences look pretty steep, because even $400 and some for that first 60 days, the $7 a day, is steeper than the increase on the registration. So it's definitely, and that seems to, based on what they have on the site, continue to roll until you fix it. So if you were to go register your vehicle properly the day after getting that citation, you're only going to pay $7. But if you let it go the whole 60 days, quite pricey, and it's obviously less expensive to register a vehicle properly. My guess is the penalties for the impoundment or the second tier of steps is going to be quite expensive. So very, very quick, short one. PSA with some new stuff, not so much a new law, but a new effort of enforcement from the state here. So be warned of that. Make sure your vehicle's registered where it belongs. If you have questions for us that you want to have read here on the podcast, take a look right there. Send us an email, info@bowerslawmd.com. Make sure that you mention, as I've said before, that you want me to talk about it in the podcast. Otherwise, you might just get a response. You might get the answer to your question. If it involves somebody else, an area of law that I don't practice, I'm going to bring on a guest, somebody that's more of an expert in that specific area of law. We've done this for family law stuff, for criminal stuff, for expungements, for estate planning. We've had all sorts of different attorneys on here to come talk employment stuff, the archdiocese abuse cases. We've had a variety of topics that we've had experts in here that are at the helm on those, and we'll do it again. We've got some stuff lined up on the schedule with one of the detectives here in the sheriff's office to talk about some scam and consumer protection stuff. That we'll see that within the next couple of months here. Also, I'm working with an insurance agent to talk about some insurance products. So that'll be an interesting new twist. But there's always time for your topics. So if you've got something you want me to discuss, right here, info@bowerslawmd.com, and we'll get that queued up for a future episode. Also, if you want something that you think you missed, hop on over to bowerslawmd.com. That's where you're going to find all sorts of information about the firm, about what we do. But most importantly, if you are a listener or watcher of the podcast, right there, you'll find all of the previous and back episodes all archived right there. Very easy to find. So if you missed a topic and it's not linked to from within a previous topic, go right there. You'll find a full list of everything that we have for you. Like I said, relatively short one, just a little PSA, because this is coming. It's going to be expensive if you fall into the trap. So I wanted to warn people, get out there ahead of it. Get your vehicles. If you're living in Maryland, get them registered and tagged here in Maryland. It's going to save you a lot of grief, because the last thing you want to do is track down where that vehicle is if they tow it, or who you have to call to get the boot removed. Don't even bother with that. Fix it now. And then, of course, when you're registering that vehicle in Maryland, you're also going to insure that vehicle in Maryland. So definitely reach out. Have me do a review, a free review of your insurance policy. You can go do that anytime. But when you get that quote for your new Maryland policy, if you're switching your registration over, go to marylandinsuраncebook.com. Very easy place for you to upload that quote, that deck page. I can chop it up and say, hey, you might want to look at this or that. You're missing this. You've totally forgotten that. Or, hey, thumbs up. You've actually watched my podcast and did everything that I told you to do. This is a stellar policy. Don't change a thing. Rarely do I say that, but I'm happy when I do see it, because that means you've got a great policy, probably because you've actually listened to the education, which is why I do this. I don't want people getting the bad news for the first time when it's too late to fix it, because you've already been in an accident. And the whole reason I do this whole podcast, the reason that I wrote the book, the reason that I'm rewriting the book on insurance policies is because I hate being the bearer of bad news. Hey, we can help you, but These are going to be some of the limitations because of your insurance policy and because of the other driver's insurance policy. Fix those problems. Thank me later. That's all I have. Be safe. Be well. We'll see you next week.